So, I'd like to discuss something today, and that discussion is revolved around liberal and conservative views of the gay community. I think one person or one issue that we have in this whole situation is that we tend to take a very hard stance in one direction or the other, and we don't look at the global issue at hand. We don't look at the global community of the gay population and think about their needs. We just kind of take a left or right handed stance without um, um, coming to a balance. And I'm going to try and explain a very dangerous situation that can propagate out of this scenario if we're not all careful. And I would really like to even reach the gay community in this because it's actually a very important thing to discuss. Um, and I think if people can just sit down and listen to my words, maybe there'll be some value, and that if it does have value, I hope it reaches everybody in a positive light. As far as things go, a lot of times we actually take one of the big concerns is the religious establishment versus what gay people say. And now, if people want to talk about the religious establishment, I think the first thing we have to do in North America is actually um, uh, discuss Jesus's views, okay? Because whether people like it or not, Christianity had a very large part to do with the New World, North America. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the views of equality, rights, it was all discussed by Jesus. One of the things that he said was treat women that you would as you would treat yourself. Okay, so that he actually believed outside of the realm of the Middle East, how women were supposed to be subservient. He actually believed outside of that and that everybody should be equal. Okay, and I think we're starting to lose touch with the reality of what Jesus spoke versus what versus all these other religions. So he was about loving everybody equally. And one of those things is the gay population. I think it's important, I mean, we need to love everybody equally, including the gay population. That is what Jesus actually asked us to do. So, in that regard, what are we commanded to do? We're commanded to love everybody. Okay. Now, what the Bible does say, and this is more Jewish, Zionist, the Old Testament tends to say, is that it's an abomination. Okay, for a man to be with a man, it is an abomination and despiseful to God. Okay, that's not what Jesus said. That's not what the followers of Christ, who were Christ says to love everybody, say. That's what the Old Testament says. So, in regards to the Old Testament, though, I would also like to say that there is a small merit to that. And in this merit, there's a very dangerous thing that we need to address and that we can't go off tangent for. Gay community should not even be endorsing certain things, okay? And the reason is this. The reason is what who is God? Okay, first we need to answer that question. God is life. If you look at the Torah and you look at the Bible, when you get down to the nitty gritty, God is everything. God breathed life. He breathed part of himself into life. Okay, and so everything that is around us, the Torah actually says it. God is everything. Okay, and now what does God despise? God says he despises destruction. He despises anything that is anti-life. So whether we like it or not, um, we don't have to believe it. We just have to know God is life, and that procreation of life is a good thing. to actually have more life. That's the reason why we're here. It's the reason why we get to interact with one another. It's the reason why we get to speak with one another, enjoy day-to-day lives with one another. And what we have to do is ask, okay, God is saying he likes life, he likes the procreation of life. And now we have to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of sex? Sexual intercourse. A lot of the times, and now we're being led off the track, okay, sex is for pleasure. It is not for pleasure, okay? Whether we think so or not, we do it. Humanity does it for pleasure, but there is not a single other animal in creation that reproduces, that has sex for pleasure. The purpose of sex is reproduction, okay? So the purpose of a man being with a female is to procreate. That is life. That is creation of life. Whether we like it or not, we need that, okay? Even gay people need that. They came from a man and a female that procreated to create that special person who should learn how to love themselves and accept themselves, just like Jesus said. And that is a gift, okay? But in order for that to happen, you have to have procreation. A man and a man is anti-procreation, okay? And I'm not saying men shouldn't be companions with men. I'm just saying it's anti-creation. Doesn't it make sense? Why would God dislike something that is man with a man? Is because it's anti-creation. It's not creating new life. It's not bringing forth something. It's actually destructive, okay? So yes, there's a balanced approach here that we need to take. And the danger of this, people, is if this becomes widespread, what ends up happening is, how do you control the population? People in power, they want to ruin everybody's lives. They are not happy until they have ultimate control over everybody's lives day to day. They're already doing it in the form of taxation. We pay 60% of our wages in tax every year to the IRS or whoever. It's all World Bank issues, okay? The working class are oppressed. We can't make ends meet. We're basically slaves, okay? Now, what's the next logical step? Tell people who and who they can't have kids with. Wouldn't it be great if 50% of the population was male and male, and that, you know what, maybe, or female and female? What would happen in that situation? Now, more government bureaucracy. I want to have a child, so let's donate sperm and let's have children. Now we're giving the government an open door to control who gets pregnant, how they get pregnant, what they can do to get the pregnancy. There's a whole nother ball game of loopholes where it's no longer procreation, it's controlled creation. The government says who gets sperm to have the next generation of people. The government tells you if you can have a child. The government says you can or can't do this or that. People, this is slavery to the next level, okay? And if we continue to accept that, it's a problem. And I'm not saying that gays should not be with gays, but gays also need to understand they came from procreation, and that it's important to understand the validity of procreation. Because if we're willing to give that up so easily, it's going to be the government that controls it for us. And is that the direction we want to head for humanity? I think that's a problem. Don't buy into this liberal propaganda. I'm all for males being with males and females being with females, but the institution of marriage is simply a man and a woman getting together to procreate. call the institution of a man and a man something different. Why are we so worried about conformance, that a man is somehow every single situation we need to conform in everybody's little world? What's so wrong with a man being a companion to a man and not calling it anything? Don't give it a name. Give it a different name. Give it a unique situation. It is outside the box. It's not for procreation. It's not for two people getting together to create a life, to procreate. That is a completely different ballgame. So I hope this message meets people somewhere in the middle, and that we can see that there is validity to both sides of the story, and that we should really be more open to this, because I think really the end game is not a nice thing for from the people that are higher up and have control in this world. I think really what they're planning to do is a lot more devious. And if we're willing to give up our rights and freedoms, including having children, then we're giving our half of our wage, working 7 months out of the year for free for our government. They'll gladly take it from us, and they already have. And if you want to give up your rights to have children or the rights to procreate, they'll take that too. They'll take that too and control everybody's life. And that's the direction I see we're going. And I think even for the gay population, they should realize that they're becoming subservient. They're being used as a tool, just like so many other people are being used as tools in wars. So take the message, take what you will from it. If it resounds with you, great. If not, well, just chew on it. And if it's meant to resound with you at some point, it will. If not, wish you the best. Take care.